So embattled Congressman George Santos has a brand new Republican challenger. He's Mike Sepriconi. This is a retired New York City police detective and Nassau County business leader.
He's looking to unseat Mr. Santos and is announcing his bid in New York's 3rd Congressional District. Joining us right now, Mike Sepriconi. Nice to see you again.
Good morning, ladies. Great to be here.
So, why do you want to run for George Santos' seat or run against him?
Well, there's so many reasons, but I think we'll start out. If we look at some of our representation in Washington, people tend to be partisan. Those representatives only think about their agenda and worry about how do they move forward going forth, where they're not thinking about the people who elected them, right? The people who they represent. Are they listening to those people? Are they dealing with those people? And Santos is the perfect example. Since he was elected in November of 22, we haven't even seen or heard of him, at least as a representative for us. We've seen him a lot and heard of him a lot. But he's not helping us. He's not answering the questions we need in District 3.
Well, the other problem that George Santos has is that, you know, he's been accused of being a big liar, right? Is there anything, Mike, that you have said in your past or currently that could be misconstrued as a lie at some point? This is the time now to kind of get it out.
One time I told my son I killed a spider in his room. And I didn't really kill it, but he wouldn't go to sleep. He wanted me to show him the dead spider. I said, just go back to bed.
That's it, Mike?
But other than that, I hope that's all I've ever really deceived.
So what are your credentials? Because we know that you're a former NYPD detective.
I did 20 years with the Transit Police and the NYPD. I retired in 2000, and then I started a business, and I employ over 600 retired and active law enforcement. I have a global company throughout the world. And so my time in law enforcement, I've understood how to talk to people, how to make decisions, how to de-escalate problems, and how to hear people and listen to people. And with my business, I think it's so important that we get back to a situation where we run this country like a business. We run it about how our clients feel, how we get together and we do what's best practices for everybody, and we listen to people. And I don't think we do that at all now. I don't think we listen.
So you're saying that public safety would be just one of our main issues as to why New York City and even the area that you would represent is kind of suffering right now?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, you turn the TV on, you read the paper every morning, there's crime in the subway, people are afraid to go to work.
But how do you fix this?
Well, you listen to people, and you go back to old styles. So I'm part of that Giuliani Braden thing back in the 90s, okay, where we started with broken windows. Maybe people might not like the way they turned out, but you know what? It was very effective when we did it. People need to be held accountable, and we don't hold people accountable.
Do you think that's the reason people don't feel safe to come back to the city? I mean, what are the issues? Because we just showed 6th Avenue. Empty. I mean, we're used to it being bustling, people on the street getting ready to go to work.
You know, people from my district should be able to get on the Long Island Railroad and feel safe. They should be able to get off at the station and not see homeless people laying on the stairs. They should not have to step over that. They shouldn't watch people jump over the turnstile and be afraid what's going to happen next. And we can't have that anymore. We need to build a way to make the city, show the city that it's safe and it's convenient to come to. I mean, the railroad and the subway are great things if they're safe, and tourists will come here. We do have great tourism,
Mike,
but you need more.
It's not just safety, too. When you think about people that may not be coming back to the workforce because they don't want to pay for parking in the city because it's too expensive, talk about congestion pricing to be taken into effect, these garages are going to shoot up their prices. It's cost of living, too.
Well, it's hard enough. I mean, as a cop, I work 3 jobs just to support my family. And people work really hard, and their money has to last. And it's more difficult as government, we should be helping people, not putting more problems to people and causing them more aggravation.
What are the problems in your district that you hope to attack if you're elected?
You know, I look at the economy, and I go into the local Stop and Shop by me, and I listen to people talk and say, the cost of eggs, this is crazy. I can't afford this.
Joe Biden said everything's going down.
Well, it's not. I mean, that's all deception. That's all the liberal views of saying how well they're doing. Look at the cost of cars. Go try to buy a car. Go try to get a mortgage. How do your kids, the kids that we raised to live in Long Island or Manhattan, wherever, how do they go buy a house? What are we doing to secure their futures? We're not doing anything. Same with education. We need to get back to a point where we're the best educated people in the world. We're not. We're dropping the ball in so many different ways.
Can I get your thoughts on the border? Because we've talked to the mayor, we've talked to his advisor, and they do call out the president by name and saying we need more help, we need you to do something, but they have not explicitly said what that something is?
I think it's a domino effect when you look at the border problem. We need to have the border secured. Listen, we're all immigrants at some point in our lives, our families, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, and we should come here, and everybody who wants to come here and work hard. But if you're not coming here legally, that's not good. It's not acceptable. We shouldn't be paying for people that are crossing our border illegally. We shouldn't just be opening it up. I think Ronald Reagan many years ago said something like, if you can't protect your borders, you're not a nation if you can't protect your borders. So it's important that and that's a domino effect with it too. These people bring in drugs. Fentanyl is like between 18 and 45. It's killing the majority of our
And it's specifically affecting New York City and even the district that you
And
represent.
Long Island.
Yeah.
Long Island.
Yeah.
I think years ago, Long Island was #1 in opioids and fentanyl. And the police departments are doing a great job, but we need help. The government needs to be strong.
Hey, what about those Gilgo murders?
I think the police departments did a great job.
But what happened all these years? They had that tip. They sat on it.
And just like I'm looking at in politics as not being a politician, sometimes you need fresh eyes on things, right? And that's what happened there. When Harrison became the police commissioner and Tierney won the race out there for DA, they had fresh eyes on the case. They put a task force together, and they made that a priority. Might be a lot of reasons why it wasn't a priority over those last 10 years.
Why? Because
well, people were saying who was involved. There's a lot of corruption out in Suffolk County.
Right.
They named some
the police
people.
chief he was a little busy
maybe
too.
I'm not going to get into that, but
Yeah.
maybe he was. Okay,
Yeah.
but still, fresh eyes sometimes on any situation makes it go a little bit better.
All right, so Mike, we're going to see you stumping around Long Island. What's the story?
You will. I'll be all over the place. I'm so happy to do this on your show this morning to announce, and I'm excited. I'm nervous. This is new to me. I'm pretty good on solving homicides or running a company, but to be a politician or to try to become a representative, it's new, it's scary, but if you're not a little scared, something's wrong.
So you're doing it because you feel like you need to?
Well, I'm doing it because I'm kind of tired. I'm tired of the far left, the far right. We need somebody who looks at what the people want and understands what the people want and will represent them to what their needs are.
Mike Saperconi, you heard him first on Good Day New York.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much
you
for being
coming
here.